Energy. It is all around us, both seen and unseen. It affects all the lives within humanity, our great planet Earth, and the entire universe. It is a conscious, cosmic matrix, an ever-evolving cycle, creating, breaking down, and recreating. This is Connected with your host, Andrea Dragonfly. Andrea tells us that energy is the foundation of our human experience, intrinsically affecting every facet of our lives, our perceptions, choices, and actions, as well as the challenges, opportunities, and people we attract. So now, please welcome the host of Connected, Andrea Dragonfly.
Hey, good people. How's it going? Welcome to another episode of Connected. I am your host, Andrea Dragonfly. In this talk series, I'm sharing about the complexities of energy, how energy can help us, and how it can often hinder us, and how everything we experience in our lives is generated through energy, and how it's all connected. And so when we become aware of this energy within ourselves, we begin to learn how we can use it to really bring us to where we want to go. We can also recognize this in how we relate with other people. So again, energy is about relationships. And then we can move it into the greater world where we can begin to work with energy in living things and nature. And then even more so into the cosmos, where we can connect into planetary alignments, we can connect into the stars, the moon phases, and know how those energies work with us. So we're coming right out of a very activated month of energy that was coming from the cosmos. And normally I've just been kind of walking us through learning about energy within ourselves because it's so important to understand how we actually can create our lives through understanding this energy. And so, of course, with this huge activation of this last month, I wanted to begin to bring that in. And so I was talking a little bit about how, of course, we had the lunar eclipse in March. And that was really about energy and relationships and how we were connecting into ourselves. I don't think I spoke much about it on the show, but that was the energy that was available to us. And then with the total solar eclipse on April 8th, this was about really, and it was also conjoining at the same time with the asteroid Chiron, powerful time for us to dream our greatest dream of ourselves, as well as to heal our original wound. I'm going to talk more about that original wound today. And then, of course, following that, we had one of the biggest astrological events of the year, where we're looking at Uranus and Jupiter were conjunct, which means they were coming together. They were meeting up at the exact same point. And this was a huge energy of change, of freedom, of really also connecting into dreaming the biggest dream for yourself, letting go of the old routine, the patterns that just aren't bringing you joy in life, those things that are holding you back from really having the life that you want. And so bringing that forward, bringing it into today's conversation. We're going to be looking at these energy fields. I introduced the 4 energy bodies that are from the shaman tradition of South America through the Laika. And I want to talk more about the Laika because what we're going to really look at today is about the luminous energy field and the journey of humanity moving from Homo sapiens into what's called Homo luminous. And so it's through these energy fields, it's through recognizing who we are and how we're operating and what's holding us back from fully finding our true freedom that we're going to be looking at in today's time together so that we can really expand this. And this is the energy for the world right now. So I've had the pleasure of learning with the Leica through Alberto Violdo's Light Body School. And it was through 2017, which is I really dove deep into the energy medicine program. Now, I'd already had many years prior working with energy, working with unseen energy in particular. And so when I came to working with the Light Body School and meeting the Leica shamans of Peru, I already had a very well developed toolkit of working with energy. So it was a beautiful transition for me to move into this modality, this healing practice. And I'm going to share the story about the Leica because it's a beautiful story. And we're going to talk about, how it's so relevant for today and for the current modern world. But it starts back 500 years ago. So this is in the time around 1532. And this is where the Spanish conquests were coming through America. And it was really when the conquistador Francisco Pizarro landed into Peru right around 1526. But by the time they made it to Cusco, it was around 1532. So they were really kind of washing over the whole country, and they were bringing in all of the Christianity. And there was a lot of the indigenous people that were completely, at the effect of this new power. And at first, of course, there were some wars that were happening, and they were recognizing that the Spanish were not there to be friendly, but there to take over. Well, in around 1532, could be a little bit earlier, it was through a certain wisdom community, the Earth Keepers, also what came to be known as the Leica. They had vision, prophecy. They knew that the Spanish was coming. And so they had a plan. They had a backup plan that when the Spanish came, if they weren't friendly, they were going to flee to the high mountains. And of course, that time came. And as the Spanish conquistadors were really kind of sacking the city, and they saw that there was a lot of gold and a lot of wealth there, that this was a very, place for the Spanish to control, that the shamans, the community at that time, they fled to the mountains, and they were actually chased. And as they were being chased, the conquistadors were like, we know that you have to come down from the mountain at some point. And when you come down, we'll get you then. And when they fled up to the mountain, and this is towards possibly Machu Picchu, but definitely in that whole area over there, they never came down. And so they stayed there for 500 years. And while everything down below, this is the high mountains, and so this is like above the clouds and the peaks of the high Andes. And they became to be known as the children of the sun. And this is definitely part of the Quioto tradition of the shamans of Peru. And while they were there, they were praying and having direct communication with divine forces, with the powers that be. And they were praying for Peru, but they were also connecting into the fact that this was happening all over the world. And over the next several hundred years, the world was colonized by much of Europe. And many of the indigenous people lost their homes, their land, their culture, their family. They were oppressed. They were executed for savagery and all sorts of things that we can imagine the horrors of, a takeover on that level. And so while the Leica were in the high mountains communing directly with divine forces, they were learning the codes, the keys for actually how to heal the energy fields. Because really, it's the energy field that holds on to the pain, the trauma, the, all that has happened to us, and we can get lodged into our energy field and we can carry that. I introduced the concept of reincarnation, whether it was last week or the week before, and I'll definitely dive into that much more thoroughly. But it's also always been known that we come back, we're here on our human journey, and the journey to experience all of humanity, not just get one life. And whatever you get in this life is what you got. And, if you're 2 months old and you only got a life of a 2-month-old, then sorry, you don't get anything more. Or if you, die at 10, at 15, 20, 40, right? So with the idea with reincarnation, we're really here to learn the full experience, the whole gamut of whatever's possible, with things that are going to be joyful and things that are going to be painful. And so some of those painful moments throughout our past lives, they get lodged into these energy fields. And so continuing on with the Leica and how they were there for about 500 years, they did come down. And when they came down from the mountaintop, those who came back into the village, they were found, they were executed. But they actually were bringing a message. And the message was that they had connected with divinity, and that the teachings were that all creation, the earth, humans, the whales, the rocks, even the stars, that we're all made from vibration and light. And that if we knew how to work with this, we could really come into a place of a higher state of consciousness, a higher state of humanity. However, this was very threatening to the Catholic Church at that time. And so they were seen as witches and sorcerers, and then they were captured and tortured and murdered and all sorts of different things, and so imprisoned. And so of course, not many of them came down, because when they did and they brought the message, they were found out. And then even after a period of time, even after the Spanish Inquisition had ended all around the world, the Catholic Church was still threatened by the Leica, still threatened by this message that they were here to bring to the people. And that message, of course, is definitely bringing the true divine forces in, a vibration of light, of a higher love, a higher acceptance, of recognizing that we all are contributing to the greater good of life and the planet and all that's within it. And so even the Spanish Inquisition held an office, still opened in Cusco, all the way up until about 1826, until it finally closed. But even in that time, the Leica built, there was a reputation that was created around that. A reputation that even the people saw them, they were like, ooh, they're witches, they're sorcerers. However, witchery and sorcery is all about wanting power for oneself. And they were the true light. They were the ones that said, no, this is about bringing it to all humanity. So as they were getting the keys for healing the planet, because again, colonization was happening all over the world, they were more or less untouched, because they still were able to hold their culture. They were still be able to connect with their cosmology. They were still able to really kind of be in a place that was indirectly affected by the colonization of all indigenous peoples at that time. And so it's within this energy that they knew that this was something that needed to get out into the world, that this is the healing modality that will take the world to learn to give to one another. It's not just them being the ones to give it to the world. And there was this belief, this knowing, it could even be called a prophecy, that there was going to be a Westerner that comes to them at some point, and that he will be the bridge between them and the rest of the world. And that came through Alberto Villoldo. And of course, there's stories and whether he, of course, this is all storytelling. But he was the one that came in and was able to meet with his earlier teacher, Don Antonio, who was connected to the Leica. And during the day, he worked in the university, and Alberto Villoldo, as a medical anthropologist, went down to Peru to actually learn about the healing methods of the shamans and was connected through them. And it was through Alberto's work with the shamans over many years that he became the bridge. And through the Light Body School, bringing this healing modality to the world, anybody at any time who feels called and drawn. So there's also a word called cultural appropriation. And some people say that it's not okay to carry the medicine of the indigenous. However, the indigenous were very, very clear through their divine interactions that this needed to go out into the world. And all people connected to the healing of the planet could come, could learn, could get these keys of healing so that we could really work with these energies within us, heal the imprints, heal the pain, the suffering that we've all had throughout our past lives. And so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the luminous energy field, how it works, and how we can start learning more about ourselves and how it's all connected. So I'll see you in 2.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back. So I'm talking about the Leica, the high mountain shamans of Peru, also known as the Children of the Sun, and about Alberto Villoldo, who is one of my teachers, and he runs the Light Body School down in Chile. And he also wrote a book called The Four Insights. And The Four Insights really goes deeper into the history of the Leica, his relationship with them, how he built that relationship and was able to really bridge the earth keepers, because Leica is actually a Quechuan word that means earth keeper, and build this relationship to bring this medicine to this world, that energy medicine. And of course, to heal the world, it takes many, many hands, many hearts, many souls, many devotees of being able to bring this medicine, this energy to the world. And so they saw that when we heal our energy bodies, we can then exalt into what's next. We can move our species forward into a place where they saw what would be considered the Homo Luminous, where our energy field would be illuminated. Now, our energy field consists of our chakra system. And the chakra system, many people may know the chakra system from a lot of yoga and a lot of Indian and Eastern philosophies. However, the chakra system actually has been acknowledged in many different wisdom traditions throughout time. And so it's also through the Laika recognizing that we have within our bodies 7 chakra systems, which are also energy centers. And each one of these systems holds energetics that are connected to how we are experiencing life. If we have something happening, if we have some sort of dis-ease or an illness or some sort of, disorder of some sort, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, we can actually look at how they're connected, right? Everything's connected into our body systems. When we can bring all of our chakra systems into alignment and really understand life from a more expansive perspective, that everything that's happening in life is an opportunity for us to grow, expand our consciousness, see it from a different light, connect into the higher vibrations of light and love, even that we can really overcome a lot of the lower vibrational disconnect, a lot of those areas within our lives that create feelings of anger and frustration and resentment, and where we get triggered, and then we can carry that energy, and that can really drag us down, and can really bring us consistently to other things in our lives that are also unsatisfying. And so like energy attracts like energy. If we're operating in that lower energy, we're drawing more of that energy to us. When we can operate in a higher vibrational light love energy, we then begin to shift our world. We shift our life. We shift our experience. We can be more connected into the things that bring us joy, pleasure, peace, ease, happiness, bliss, right? All those pieces, energetics that bring us into a higher level. And that becomes our main energy. And again, I'm just going to refer back to that energy self-perception chart, because it shows us, if I'm here and I drop back down to being angry, what are the steps I need to do to bring myself into a higher state of energy? And then we can actually rewire ourselves to move into a higher state of energy, draw through attraction, energy attraction, because we're producing energy and we're attracting energy simultaneously. It's going back and forth. So this is about learning about ourselves. What are we doing? How do we do this? So getting back to the chakra system. So this is the rainbow. This is the luminous energy that lives within us. This is the rainbow cord of light that runs through the core of our being. And so the first one is the root chakra. It's also known, it's known as the root chakra. And the color is red. This is the grounding force. This is the lower chakra. And really it's located right at the base of our body. It's really right between, the vagina or the scrotum and the anus. And so it's kind of right in that area, kind of right up there. And that is our grounding point. And that is this place where we can connect into the earth. And so this is also the place where, with physical body aspects, this is our physical foundations. It's also that place where we eliminate waste. So if we have a hard time of letting go of things, we might have digestive disorders. So it's connected to our rectum, our legs, our feet. And it's also connected to our testosterone and estrogen within how our body produces. Now, the instinct of this chakra is about survival, and it's about procreation as well. So this is that survival instinct that we're very much on the earth, we're connected to the earth, and how are we going to survive along, this life experience, right? This journey. So there's also psychological aspects, and the psychological aspects are about the basics of staying alive. So it's about feeding ourselves. It's about our shelter. It's about feeling safe and our ability to provide for ourselves first. It's kind of like being in the airplane and they say, put the mask on yourself first before you put it on the child. So it's about us in relation to the world around us. Now, it also works with specific glands, and the glands within the body are the ovaries and the testes. And then the seeds of how it can really bring us into a higher state of connection to the world is through abundance. And also the Kundalini energy, which Kundalini is a very Eastern word, but it's the energy that rises from the base up through the rest of our chakras to really kind of connect us and bring that power upward. Now, it also has negative expressions. So these negative expressions can show up in disorders like hoarding. It can be predatory behaviors. It can also be connected to mindless violence, chronic fatigue, birth trauma, and abandonment issues. So if any of those activate, if any of those like kind of illuminate within you, then there's some work around that first chakra that has some imprints in there that could either be from this life or past lives that are still living within you, that are holding you back from fully finding freedom of choice, of joy in this life. Now, with the second chakra is usually about 3 fingers, maybe like 4 fingers below the belly button, and it's inside of us. So all these chakras are living inside of us as energy centers. And so this is the second chakra. It's also known as the sacral chakra. The color of the chakra is orange. The body aspects in which it's connected to is digestion, the intestines, the kidneys, urinary tract, our sexual potency, our adrenaline. Also, if we have lower back pain, it's coming from this area. Menstrual pain, and oftentimes those who are experiencing loss of appetite just in general. And the instinct of this chakra is sexuality. And it's also creativity, right? And the psychological aspects are around power, money, sex, control, fear, fighting, passion, self-esteem, sexual or emotional abuse, inherited parental issues, and incest. So this is where that's going to live if those have happened to you in this lifetime, or if there's something going on in that second chakra could also come from another lifetime, right? The glands here are the adrenal glands. And the seeds of its potential, what it can do and how it can bring us into that place of our extraordinary lives is through creativity, our compassion, deeper relationships with our families. So if you're lacking in this area, this is an area that we want to focus on in our healing. And then, of course, the negative expression is around fear and fighting. So even looking at the people in your life, we can begin to say, oh, hey, maybe they have some energy imprints here if this is something that is kind of consistent. The third chakra is also known as the solar plexus chakra. And that is like right in the core of our center. So it's our solar plex region, right? The color of this is yellow. And the body aspects are the stomach, the abdomen, the liver, pancreas. This is where we store and release our energy. It's also where our spleen is located in this region. And so the instinct of this is about power and life force. So being able to have that power and that life force to make things happen. The psychological aspects are courage, power again, and our expression in the world. And the gland particularly associated to this is the pancreas. And so that's the gland. And then the seeds are our autonomy, being able to choose for ourselves, our individuation, our selfless service, the fulfillment of our dreams, and our longevity to be able to live a long life, to really enjoy it while we have this lifetime. And the negative expression, we can often find gastrointestinal disorders in this area. It's also a place of eating disorders like bulimia and anorexia, sorrow, pride, ego inflation, neurotic symptoms, low energy, victim mentality, temper tantrums. And this is also the place that we can carry our shame. So if any of those are resonating within you, this is definitely the solar plexus region, about our power and our ability to use that power to really get the world, the life that we want, to reach our dreams. And then moving into the next chakra, now those are the lower bottom three. Now we're moving into the heart chakra. And the heart chakra is the element, it's the color green. And actually it's connected to an element, the element of air. Whereas the solar plexus is connected to the fire, the sacral is connected to the water, and then the first root chakra is connected to the earth. So each of them are connected to an element as well. Well, with the fourth chakra, the heart chakra, this is the green heart color of the rainbow, the really expansive green healing light even. And within that, we have our body aspects of the circulatory system, of our lungs, our breasts, our heart, if we have asthma, issues, immune deficiencies. The thymus gland is the gland in which it's connected to. And it seeds selfless love and forgiveness. So this is that energy that's going to bring in when we work this, and we can heal the pains and wounds of the heart. We can really work this in a way that we can forgive and have selfless love and bring us to another state of our experience. And then also the negative expression can also show up in our lives as betrayal, addictions, psychosis. And psychosis is definitely like when we get like schizophrenia or some sort of, mental disorder, delusions, in case you're not really clear on how psychosis works. But sleeping disorders, this is where we have the perpetual liars coming into our lives, or maybe we're the perpetual liar. And we have fear of speaking out, or maybe there's a gossiping issue that one has. And so it has these levels of toxicity, how we're being a toxic person and just, creating conflict in the world around us. And so we're going to go ahead and as I move into the next chakras, we're going to take a quick break, but I also want to remind you that this is a live show. And you are welcome to call in and ask any questions about anything that I'm talking about, specifically with the chakras, about the Leica and about Alberto Villoldo and the Light Body School. You're also welcome to go ahead and send a text. If you are on any of the social media sites, you can go ahead and ask your questions there. And by all means, we'd love to hear your voice. And so this next segment will come back. Love to hear from you as I continue to share more about the energy bodies and the chakra centers. I'll see you when we come back.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back. So we're talking about the energy centers that live within us that hold energy that can be collected throughout our lifetime. You can even have energy from past lifetimes that are creating patterns in our lives or that we are having to experience at, sometimes we're dealing with these for, weeks, months, and years. So it's like, how long has this been living within you? And so I'm inviting you to make note. If there's something that resonates with you as I'm talking about these energy centers and some of the different physical aspects, the psychological aspects, the negative expressions and how they come out, make a mental note saying, oh, there's something going on in this part of my body that may need some attention, needs some energy work, right? And so I was just talking about the heart chakra, and now I want to move into the fifth chakra, which is also known as the throat chakra. And again, I want to invite anybody who's interested. This is a live show. You're welcome to call, ask any questions about anything that we're talking about here, or even, anything that we're talking about here. So would love to hear from you. But with the throat chakra, this is the element of light. So I talked about how the root is earth, the sacral is water, the solar plexus is fire, and then the heart is air. Now we're moving into the light. So the throat chakra is light. The color is blue. And the body aspects are the throat, the mouth, the neck, the esophagus. So this whole area. And the instinct that's connected to this is the psychic expression. Now, all of this I'm getting specifically through the teachings of the Leica. This is also the work that Alberto Villoldo has done with the Leica, and he also has this in some of his books at how we can look at how this is working within us. And so I can post some of his reading material for further inquiries. If you're interested to dive even deeper into some of this stuff, I'll put that up on my website and my media page. So the instinct is that psychic expression. And so being able to tap into energies that we've kind of lost how to learn how to use that. And by all means, I'm going to definitely talk about those psychic expressions in a whole show on their own. But this is where we can connect into clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, and some of the others. The psychological aspects of this fifth throat chakra are really about manifesting our dreams. It's our creativity, our communication. It's also like having faith and believing in something greater than ourselves, that there's this energy relationship that's there for us to work with, right? And so we can really bring that in to be energy allies for ourselves. The glands associated with this chakra is the thymus and the parathymus. That's not right. It's the thyroid and the parathyroid. And the seeds of energy are personal power, faith, and will. And the negative expression that can show up for that is, again, betrayal, addictions. I think I said this for the heart. So let me clarify, because I am working with my notes here just so I make sure, because this is a lot of information. So working with the negative expressions with the heart is a grandiose ego. It's resentment, selfishness, grief, loneliness, abandonment, and betrayal. So I got ahead of myself there. So that, those are pretty powerful. And think about that. Like if we have a broken heart, how does that broken heart, how do we experience that? Right? And so with our throat chakra and the negative expressions, again, can be betrayal, addictions, the psychosis I had mentioned earlier, where it could also connect to schizophrenia, it could be delusions, it could be, all sorts of different things, hallucinations that are just within one's own being without other types of chemically induced substances, where a person can have sleep disorders, fear of speaking out, because that's connected to the throat, gossiping, and anything that we're speaking that can be like toxic energy, right? Kind of creating that conflict. And then with the sixth chakra, this can also be referred to as our third eye. And it's right here, kind of, right back through into the center of our headspace. And this is the element of pure light. The color of this is indigo. And the body aspects are the brain, the eyes, and also it connects us to the nervous system. The instinct here is truth. And the psychological aspects are reason and logic. Of course, we're thinking about that here, right? Intelligence, empathy, depression, stress-related disorders. We might be in denial over certain things. I think humanity's got some, work with denial that's available for us to do. And the gland is the pituitary gland here. The seeds are of enlightenment and self-realization. So this is where we're beginning to kind of connect into something greater. And so even within the third eye, this is where we can start to connect into these energies around us and begin to create relationships with energy consciousness. So it's through the third eye that becomes available. And then the negative expression can be, again, like delusion, neuroses. And neuroses are, for those who are not really clear with all the vocabulary, but it's also those things that like maybe we get depressed or we have anxiety or we get overwhelmed and we, so there's like, or maybe we have like these OCD tics where we need to make sure the door is locked, 6 times before we leave or whatever. So that can be a neurosis. And then there's also the feelings of inadequacy. And sometimes what can also happen is seizures. So this is where the brain hemispheres are kind of having a lightning storm and the seizures can happen. So again, if there's anything here that you recognize within yourself, take a note. If there's anything that you recognize in other people that take note of that, because this is the energy centers of where they're coming from. And then finally, we have our crown chakra, which is right on the top of our heads. And so the element of this is pure energy. It's like the opening up. You hear possibly the lotus flower, right? Opening up the 1,000-petaled lotus flower and how we have direct connection to source. And the color here is a violet, beautiful violet purple. And the body aspects are connected to our skin, our whole body, the corporeal body, but it's also connected to our brain and hormonal balances and imbalances, right? So hormonal imbalances. The instinct here is universal ethics. This is when we connect to divinity, we know that everybody has a human basic right, a right to their life, a right to choose for themselves, a right for consenting, a right to be able to live their life according to the way they desire to live their life, as long as they're not harming or hurting anybody else. So these are universal ethics that we become more connected to when we're connecting into our crown chakra. The gland connected to the crown is the pineal. And the pineal is really, it sits right next to the pituitary gland, and it's very tiny. It's like a little kernel. And this is the gland that really connects us into like inner vision, where we can begin to see through that clairvoyance, where a lot of these psychic energies really kind of come alive, where we can really upgrade our level of life, our experience, our connection, where we can really feel it within us in a whole new way. And so the seeds of this energy, and how when we work with this and clear this chakra, it can really bring us to a new place of transcendence, transcending the old experience into a new illuminated, enlightened place. So there's also illumination. We can see the world with new eyes. We can see it in a whole experience and feel it, know it in a whole new way. And the negative expression with this has to do with, again, symptoms of psychosis, of depression, of anxiety. Well, I'm sorry, that's neurosis, but psychosis again is, I'm tripping over my words, and excuse me. But psychosis again is where we are delusional, where we're kind of connecting into, maybe we're hearing voices, or maybe we're being guided by some dense energy forces, which we're going to talk a lot about that in the coming shows. But this is also a place where we kind of regress into not being our strong, independent self, but we regress into like more childlike behaviors. We can't deal with the world. We can't cope. Or we can even become more cynical, cynicism. And so it's really looking at these chakra systems. And when we're out of balance, it throws us off, and it creates us to have, like, it's almost like if you had a wooden wheel and you had a flat side of it. So it's like you're going through life and you're like click clunk, and the wheel turns click clunk, right? When we can identify them in our energy field, we can release them. So again, this was talking about the Chiron wound for the total solar eclipse. This is also looking at what's our greatest vision for our healing, for ourselves, when it came to the Jupiter-Uranus freedom. What is holding you back in your life? What do you want to let all the tethers go so you can fly, right? And have that incredible step into the life you can have. If you can feel it, if you know it exists, it's there for you to go for. And then with the Homo luminous, the Homo, so all of this lives within our luminous energy field. And so when we can move through life in a way that we can heal these wounds, and we no longer get triggered by the old patterns, the old things that would show up, that would be like, oh, here it goes again, we can move ourselves forward into a place where we never get triggered. We understand the wisdom of life. We understand that there's something completely new here, in a way that we can be with it all. And we know that whatever's happened in the world, even the tragic horrors of humanity, that they're all here for us to grow and to build ourselves into a higher vibration and a higher light, because it's all connected. Everything's connected. So we're going to go ahead and take our last break here. Give us 2 minutes. When we get back, we're going to connect into these chakras. So I'll see you in 2.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. We discover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
Welcome back. So we have just gone through the 7 energy centers that live within our bodies, and how there's almost like these little nets. They catch all sorts of different types of energetics that we go through life, and anything that has brought us into a place of a heart wound, a trauma, a feeling, where our feelings of anything that has to do with like humiliation and shame and all of those experiences that we get caught up in these chakra systems, and it can manifest in these different ways, as I was just sharing. So what I'd like to do for the rest of our time together is connect into them so that you can really get to be familiar with you. And also, by getting familiar with you, you can also look to see how might these be showing up within the people who are closest to me, right? My personal relationships. And again, this could be coming from a past life. It could be coming from something that happened early in your life, or it could even be something that happened within the last year or in the last few years. So I'd like to begin by inviting you all to close your eyes and taking 3 nice deep breaths with nice big inhales and even open mouth exhales, letting it all go, letting your day go, wherever you are in your day, just releasing it through these nice 3 breaths. And again, bringing it in and out. And of course, everybody's going to go at their own pace. And with your eyes closed, I'm going to invite you to bring your awareness, bring your mind's eye, your attention into your root chakra. And see this energy space as this glowing red light. Right there, where if we were sitting on the ground, you would be connecting right into it, where you could grow your roots directly into the earth. And again, this root chakra is about your connection. This is your physical foundation. You can connect it into your work. You can connect it into your everyday life, your bills, your if you're parenting, or if you're just living, you have no children, if you're not in that place in life yet, wherever you are. This is also connecting into how do we let things go. If you're holding on to old pain, old wounds, old sufferings, whether it's connected to family, because this is also the connection where we are, this is the chakra we're connected into our family systems. Connecting into even how your bowel movements are. If you have any issues with your legs, your feet, if you have any testosterone or estrogen energies. So your basic survival mechanisms, food, shelter, safety. And then expressions, hoarding, predatory behavior, mindless violence, chronic fatigue, birth trauma, abandonment. Just feel into this and connect to see, does this live within me? How does this live within me? And see the red cord. There is a red light. And it's threaded through your whole body system, your energy, luminous energy field. And just know this about yourself. Know that you could work on it if you want. Next, I want you to bring, with that red cord, just feeling into that red cord running through you, I invite you to move up to the next chakra center, to the sacral orange center. Again, this is where your digestion works, your intestines, kidneys, urinary tract, sexual potency, adrenaline, lower back pain, menstrual pain, loss of appetite. If any of that connects to you, know that there's something here. There's an imprint. With the psychological aspects, this is about power, money, sex, control, fear, fighting, passion, or self-esteem, sexual or emotional abuse, inherited parental issues, incest. This is affecting your creativity, your compassion, your connection to family. And then again, the negative expressions that can move through this is fear and fighting. So where are you in fear, or how are you fighting and within your relationships? And find the orange cord. The orange cord, like you're a cable of cords, and this is the orange cord that's connected to those energies within you. Now I invite you to move up to the third chakra, to the solar plexus. See this as a ball of yellow light. This is connected to your stomach, abdomen, liver, pancreas. We're restoring and releasing our energy, connected to your spleen, connected to your power, your courage, your expression in the world. And also this is where, how autonomous are you? This is your individuation, your selfless service. If you're selfish, it can also be, how can I be selfless? I need to work this energy. This is also the fulfillment of dreams and our longevity. And if we have any types of expressions that are not helpful, it's the gastrointestinal disorders, it's the sorrow, the pride, the ego inflation, the low energy, victim mentality, temper tantrums, shame. And just know this exists within this third chakra, this yellow light. And find the cord, find the yellow cord that these energetics live in, that cord. I invite you to move up to the fourth, to the heart, to the center of green, this green glowing ball within your heart center. Again, this is our circulatory system, our lungs, breasts, heart, asthma, immune deficiencies. The instinct is love. So if you have a wounded love, if you've been wounded in your love. So the psychological aspects are hope, surrender to another, compassion, intimacy, selfless love and forgiveness. But there's also the grandiose ego, resentment, selfishness, grief, loss, abandonment and betrayal. Find the green cord. Know it all lives here. Moving up to the blue, to the throat, to the blue light, the throat, the mouth, the neck, the esophagus. This is where we manifest our dreams, our creativity, our communication, our power, our faith, our will. And this is also the expressions of betrayal, addictions, psychosis, sleep disorders, lies, fear of speaking out, being seen, gossiping, toxic languages that we speak to others that we love. Finding that blue cord and moving up to the sixth to the indigo, to the third eye, to the brain, the eyes, the nervous system, to the place of your truth, to reason and logic, intelligence, empathy. We can also have depression here, stress-related disorders, denial. This is enlightenment, self-realization. So this is connecting to any of these words, feeling it in this cord of light, delusion, inadequacy, seizures. Finding that light cord and moving it up to the crown chakra where we have pure energy, the violet light. This is connected to our skin, our brain, our hormonal imbalances or balances, universal ethics, selflessness, integrity, wisdom, transcendence, illumination, and also the negative expressions of psychosis, regression, and cynicism. And just feel the energy bodies. Feel the light, the cord of light, this rainbow cord. And there's more colors, and we'll talk about those again. I'll bring those in so that you know more about the silver and the gold and the others that are available. But I just want you to connect into this rainbow cord of light within you. This is within your luminous body. And I invite you to take this through the week. And if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have anything that you'd like to say, you're welcome to share on my Facebook or Instagram page at connected.dragonfly, or you can make any comments on my YouTube channel at Andrea Dragonfly, or visit my website at www.andreadragonfly.com. You can leave messages there. It's always a pleasure. Take this forward, invite you to come back, open your eyes. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for walking this energy journey. And like always, it's a pleasure, it's an honor to bring this to you. And stay connected. I look forward to seeing you next week. Enjoy your week.
This has been Connected with your host, Andrea Dragonfly. Join Andrea each week on an extraordinary journey, exploring the consciousness of energy and how you are connected. Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.